Hey, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, and this is from the side of a board game box. And this is one of those things that dice come in. And I have some other miscellaneous crap, some sprue and some granny grating, a straight edge. But what I want to do is make like a futuristic battery type thing. Something to store power and just to add more stuff to the battlefield. So I'd like to do a couple things to make it kind of interesting, I guess. But I don't want to like put a whole lot of effort into this. I don't want to kill myself, you know. I dropped something on the floor there. Oh, a piece of a camera or something. We'll use it on this project, perhaps. Perhaps. So I'm getting a knife here, and I'm going to cut some straight edge. I'm going to cut some of these pieces, kind of like that, and like that. I'm going to snip this off straight so it looks good. All right, I'm going to glue those on, kind of like that. About like there, something like that maybe. Need more glue stick. Ugh. And these don't have to be perfect. But I want to kind of center them. Just so they look like panels that are supposed to be there. Doesn't have to be anything spectacular. I don't want to put a whole lot of effort into this. Something like that. Then I'm going to do the top and granny grating, I think. So I'm just going to put a thin little bit up there. Kind of find an edge that works. Get that in place. I'm going to cut that off. All right. Then we're just going to cut some trim for the top. And to make that work, I'm just going to glue a line on each side. This is only so that a miniature doesn't fall off if I put one up there. But I don't know if I want to put one up there or not yet. It's just a little thin trim railing to hold one if I did. I was watching that Arcane Season 2 on Netflix a little bit. I like the first season of it a lot because I used to play a lot of League of Legends, but I'll be honest, the show is not as good this season to me as it was the first season. Kind of disappointed. Really, really disappointed. There we go. All right, there we we go. It's got a nice little ledge. Keep my mini from sliding off. Let's just get a little bit of cardstock here. Just add some little interesting parts onto it. Those don't really serve any purpose besides just aesthetics. Oops. Ow. It's okay. It's okay. Here we go. Alright, I think that we need some kind of hose. And you know what? Jake Staples told me. I think it was Jake Staples. Or maybe it was RC. One of the two told me that if you fill a straw up with hot glue, it becomes very sturdy. So let's try it. That's super hot. Ow, ow, ow. We'll let that sit for a minute and cool down. I peel some of the burn off my finger there. Come on. All right. So we're just going to get a little bit of glue on this corner, like that. Some there. I'm going to stick that in place and wiggle that around to get a good bond. Okay. Okay. We'll wipe this off with a piece of t-shirt so I don't have glue everywhere. And that straw should be super sturdy now. We have this little, it's like camera thing I have from some leftover from a toy that I used on one of the crafts. So I'm just going to snip these sides off. And this little whatever it is. I'm going to mount this on here on one of the sides that has nothing. Okay. And I don't really know what else I want to put on there. Maybe I'll put this piece of sprue. Like that. And then we could throw a couple rivets on there, maybe. That might look nice. A little bit of this. Some stupid glue. Let me get my poker. Oh. All right. Maybe we'll toss some over here a little bit just to make it interesting. Come on, there we All right. I'm going to get some of this on the top here, just to melt some of that glue down where the granny grating is. Get my granny grating a little bit of meltedness. Because this battery doesn't work right anymore. Not at all. We'll shove all that back down. We'll get a little bit of glue just to hit some of these things up so they stick a little better. Just a dab there. And a dab there. Okay. All right. I'm gonna hit it with a, hit myself right in the wiener with. Spray paint it black, and I'm gonna hit it with primer red, which is actually brown. And with the primer red, I'm just dousing, like little, not dousing, but dusting little spots to create some variation. Make it kind of interesting. Okay. Good, good, good. I'm gonna drop my whatchamajoober over there. My straw piece. Alright, let's clear that out. Let's get rid of this glue so I don't stick my hand in it, because I will. Yes, I will. Indubitably, inevitably, inevitably. It's pretty dry. I'm going to get a little metallic brown to get started here. And with a wide tip brush, maybe a wide tip brush, where'd it go? I lost it. Lost my wide tip brush. There it is. With this wide tip brush and some of my dirty paint water, let's paint this thing up. And it doesn't have to be perfect. There's some blue showing through from the cardstock below. I'm not sweating it. A little bit of water on my brush makes my paint not dry super thick. It's not so saturated that you can't see some of the variation between the brown and the black underneath. Doesn't have to be perfect by any means. Something like that. Again, doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be covered. Getting around the edges of the bases, because on one of the pieces I did yesterday, I didn't have a good coverage. I'm getting a reddish brown, a little bit of that. I'm going to squirt it right here. Don't want too much. Get a dab of water. I'm going to get a little bit of gray and mix those two. Like that. Make a really ugly color. Get a little bit of water for that. Steal some of that color. And I want to kind of dab it on some of the flatter spots where things kind of rest. To look like some gunk. Alright, let's hit this with the air gun. metallic. I'm just going to use this one that I have up here already. And we'll just be sparing with it and make it last. I'm getting a crappy brush, one that I don't use all the time. Or not that I don't use all the time, but you know what I mean, like not one of my favorite brushes. There's something stuck in my bristle there. I don't know what that is. Some gunk. Wipe a lot of that off. I want to kind of hit this metallic thing here, or a camera looking thing here. I want to hit this kind of piece of whatever that is. I'm going to hit my studs, my pipe. Hit my studs. Come around on the edges of these plates. So they're kind of beat up and worn. Tap up my corners a little bit. I don't want this to turn into an enormously difficult paint job. I want it to stay kind of fun and carefree. And I want to touch that. Okay. Then we'll come up here and hit some of this grading up, a fair bit of this grading. Sweet. Let's get a color on the sides of this, make it a little more interesting. So what I'm doing here is I have some kind of like splash over wetness there. I'm just getting my brush wet, spreading that around, and it'll pull some paint off, and that's really not going to hurt anything. All right, what color do we want to make this thing? What about a yellow? I have this golden sunset yellow. This might just be what the doctor ordered. I want this to be kind of thin, and since this paint's a little watery, it shouldn't be a big problem. So what I want to do is I just kind of want to drag it around. And do my main body in it. Okay, something like that. Get a little bit down around the base. Now, if you're worried that you have too much, you can always get your brush kind of wet and beat that up some. If it looks a little too bright or a little bit too much, you can just clean that right up like that and spread that paint around a little bit more. Especially if you have some really noticeable brush strokes you're trying to hide, this would be good. Okay. I'm going to put the yeller away. I'm going to hit this with the air gun. Then I'm going to grab that silver and do a little more silver work on here. Because I want to beat up the edges of the plates where I got a little bit of that metallic accidentally. So I'm going to grab my silver. I'm going to get a lot of that off my brush, and then I'm just going to kind of rebeat some of that up with my silver. No big deal, nothing too fancy. Just the edges of plates up some, so they look worn and beaten instead of nice and painted. And just do as much as you want to put into it. Sweet. Something like that will work nice for a project like this. I want to add a little bit of color to this, just a splash somewhere. And I think what I want to do is I want to do it in that lens area on the candle, or not candle, camera. Whoops. Turn my camera. Boop. So I'm just going to get a tiny color of a blue. This is gloss tropical blue because I'm not clear coating this. So I'm just going to get my brush. I'm going to shove it in that hole and rub it around. Okay, just like that. Wipe off that little bit there. Perfect. All that I wanted. Maybe that's some kind of camera or scanner or detector for this device. I don't know. But anyways, that was a nice, easy project. Something to use a dice container for and some scraps. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, leave a comment, and all the things that please the algorithm most. You know, that pesky AI that monitors and determines which people will and will not watch the channel. Check out the Discord and the website, www.dungeonsandwag.com. Those are linked in the description. Also, in that description, you'll find a discount code for 25% off your first month of Dungeons & Swag Miniatures. We'll see you next time.